question, and he says, Ambassador, would you comment on the argument that Israel offers strategic advantages for the U.S.?
Yeah, this has been an historic argument of the Zionist lobby in the United States. There may have been some merit to it in the Cold War period, but the in the post-Cold War period, it's impossible to make this argument. Even in the Cold War, the main effect that Israel had geopolitically was to get us into encounters with the Soviet Union that threatened to go nuclear. That was the case in several of the Israeli wars, which were usually almost invariably inaugurated with an Israeli surprise attack. That was the case in Suez in 1956 in partnership with the British and French. It was the case in 1967 with the Israeli attack on Egypt and Syria, inaugurated by Israel. They caught the Egyptians and Syrians totally unprepared, and that led to a victory in the so-called Six-Day War and the occupation of all of Palestine, which is an issue that's still playing out. 1973, the Israelis were caught by surprise by the Egyptians, who counterattacked across the Suez Canal and entered Sinai, which was originally part of Egypt and is again part of Egypt. I've lost my train of thought, but I think the argument that Israel is a strategic asset now basically comes down to the Israeli development and export of surveillance technology. Israel runs a police state for the Palestinians. It's a democracy for Jews. It's almost a democracy for Arab Israelis, who don't enjoy full rights, but it is a tyranny for everyone else in Palestine. And that is enforced by very high-tech surveillance technology, including drones, armed drones. People are being killed in Gaza, as they attempt to access so-called feeding stations, which are actually baits, traps for Palestinians. And they are sniped at from drones from the air. Anyway, the Israelis excel in this area. They have a big market. Some of the Arab Gulf countries have bought a lot of Israeli technology in this area. It's also sort of a test bed for wars because it keeps starting wars, and therefore we can find out how equipment works and so forth. But really, there's no reason this shouldn't be done in New Jersey rather than Israel. We pay for it. For example, the Iron Dome program, when I was Assistant Secretary of Defense, I used to write a check for the development of that thing. It was paid for by the U.S. taxpayer. So was the Arrow air defense, missile defense system, David Sling. But as I say, this could all be done in Kansas. It doesn't have to be done in Israel particularly.